Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all. The transcript from Breonna's boyfriend has hit the wire. Let me show y'all. Oh shit! I don't fucking erased all that shit. But let me see if I got the fucking thing up. I had the fucking article. Breonna's boyfriend. He said that the cops did knock. The cops did knock. Okay, the cops did knock, and he said that Breonna. He's the one who said Breonna. The boyfriend is the one who said Breonna shot the cops. Okay, the cops did knock. The cops did knock. Okay, the cops did knock. The boyfriend fired the first shot. He shot at the police. I'm trying to find the line where he says that. Look, they were at the door for several minutes knocking. He said, the cop says, I probably banged on the door 6 or 7 instances. What the fuck just happened? Okay. What the fuck just happened? He said they hit the door. They banged on the door, no response. At that point, they started announcing themselves. An upstairs neighbor came out. So now here you go. Here goes something that you didn't see. An upstairs neighbor came out and started arguing with the cops. Okay? One of Breonna's neighbors came out and started arguing with the cops because the cops was making so much noise banging on the door. The cops was making so much noise banging on her door that an upstairs neighbor came out of their house and started arguing with the cops. Because the cop says they banged for, he banged 6 or 7 separate times. And I'm not talking about like bang on the door. I mean, they banged on, they announced themselves 6 or 7 times. Then they hit the door. And when the cop came in, they seen her boyfriend stretched out with his hands on a gun. But that's not the kicker. The kicker is the boyfriend. This is what the boyfriend says. The boyfriend told investigators that he and Taylor were watching a movie, or it was more like the movie was watching them when they heard a loud bang at the door. Okay? So Breonna's boyfriend says that they were watching a movie when they heard a loud bang at the door. He said he initially thought it might have been the former boyfriend. Okay? So he thought it was her ex-boyfriend. And then that's when they yelled out, "Who is this?" So that whole no knock, that whole bullshit about they didn't knock, the boyfriend is not saying that. Stop listening to these pro-blacks online talking about they didn't knock. The boyfriend is not saying that. The shooter, the guy who shot the cop, the boyfriend who shot the cop that came through the door, he's not saying that. Okay? That's why you come here, because we gonna give you the real shit. The boyfriend is saying they were watching a movie, they heard some loud bangs. He thought it was Breonna's ex-boyfriend, who's also a thug. He grabbed his gun and he says he was scared to death. He thought it was Breonna's ex-boyfriend. So he grabbed his gun because he was scared to death. Because Breonna's ex-boyfriend, because Lil Sweet Breonna's ex-boyfriend is a thug. Okay? So he grabbed his gun. He was scared to death. Okay? Then Breonna yelled at the top of her lungs, Who is it? They got out of bed and were going towards the door when the door came off the hinges. Then he fired a shot. And then the cops fired back and hit Breonna 8 times and killed her. He says, but as loud as we were screaming, so he salute, Dangerous Minds, appreciate you, man. Okay, so Breonna's boyfriend is not saying they didn't knock. Okay, he's not saying that. Okay, he's saying they knocked. He just thought it was Breonna's ex-boyfriend, who's a thug. So he got scared and grabbed his gun. And then when the door flew open, he started shooting. The cops are saying they were knocking for minutes. They were at the door knocking for minutes, announcing themselves. So somebody lying, but they both saying they knocked. He's saying they knocked, they saying they knocked. The question is, how long did they knock and all this shit? Did they announce themselves and all this shit? Yeah, I listen. This article's in the Atlanta Courier Journal. I try to post. I'll post it in the next video. I'll post the link to this in my next video. So she was bleeding. He yelled help. He yelled help. After she was okay. So in a later interview, another interview. So this is another time they talked to him. He described hearing at least 2 series of loud knocks. Okay? So again, he comes back again in another interview and says he heard 2 series of loud knocks before they knocked the door down. Walker, he said his gunshot was a warning. He didn't try to shoot the cop. He was just trying to shoot into the ground. He called her family, told them what happened, that she was dead. Now here's the part. You got that the sister's gonna get mad. This the part Cynthia G and Paris Milan gonna love about this story. This the part Paris Milan, Cynthia G, Chrissie, all them gonna love. After the shooting, after Breonna gets killed and the cop gets shot, the cops backed out. Then he came out the house, right? They got him to come out the house. Okay? He was arrested. They asked him who was shooting. So this is Breonna's boyfriend. They asked Breonna's boyfriend who was shooting. He said it was Breonna. He told the cops that Breonna was the one that shot. Okay? Because a lot of people are saying the police tried to paint Breonna as the shooter. No. He told the cops that Breonna was the one that shot. That shot the cop. He said it was his girlfriend who did it. He said he did it because he was scared. He said he told the cops that Breonna was the one who shot the cop when he came in the door because he was scared. Okay? He told the cops that Breonna was the shooter, which was a lie because he was the shooter. But he put it on her while she's laying dead. She's laying in the house dead, riddled with bullets. They arrest him, bring him out. Her body's still laying in the room dead. They ask him, which one of you guys shot at us when we came through the door? He said it was her. That turned out to be a lie. He said he had no reason to say it. His gun was legal and everything. He just said he was scared. That's why he said it. So Chrissie and fucking Cynthia G and Milan, they're gonna have fun with that one. That nigga ratted on a dead woman. Okay? Also, Breonna was mixed up in some bad business. Okay? Okay? Breonna was mixed up in some bad business, man. Breonna was mixed up in some bad business. Breonna, she was a EMT, but that she was mixed up in some bad business. Okay? She was the feds have been surveilling her house. And I know this because I used to have a spot like this. I used to have a spot where I sold weed. Sold weed, and I worked in a couple of weed houses in my life. I got a long history of working the weed game. I had my door kicked in. I had my house raided. I had fucking big cases, big weed cases, and all that shit. They have to surveil your house under the law. They have to surveil your house for at least 90 days before they can get a search warrant. A warrant to enter, and look for drugs. Because they can't just assume, the cops can't just say, they can't just see somebody going inside of a house and say, they selling drugs out of that house. They have to first go get because this was all in my affidavit and in my discovery when I had my case. They have to go get, the clearance from the chief or whatever, the sergeant, to do surveillance. Once they get the clearance to do surveillance, then they'll sit like a car outside your house, or they'll have undercovers watching the house, or somebody in a building across the street watching the house, and they'll watch the house, and they have to surveil the house for 90 days before they can get a warrant to go bust in your door. 90 days. We're not talking about something where they just say, man, we think they selling drugs over there. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. Don't listen to pro-blacks. They never been in the streets. They not gangster. They cornballs most of the time. They have to get that. And the police got that, and they got a lot of fucking information from Breonna's house. They got people, the guy who they had picked up, the major drug dealer who they picked up earlier, they have her taking packages to his house. They have him picking up packages at her house and taking them back to the trap house. They would watch him come to her house, pick up boxes, and then take them back to the trap house. On several occasions, they have her going to the trap house on several occasions. So they from their surveillance, they found out that her spot was a stash spot for the drug dealer. So when you hear people say they had already arrested the guy, yeah, they had already arrested the guy. The guy who was the center of the case was already in jail. They had locked him up a few hours earlier. And then they would go into his stash houses. They locked him up, and simultaneously, because they do all this simultaneously so that you can't warn each other. Because if they hit one house and then you get locked up, then you go to jail and you call back, look, y'all, get rid of all the shit. So they hit all the houses simultaneously. They hit his house, picked him up, the big drug dealer that they were looking for, and then they started hitting his stash houses simultaneously. So that's why when people are saying, oh, well, the guy they were looking for was already in jail when they went to Breonna's house. Yeah, he was already in jail. But they were also hitting his stash houses. They did the warrant they had to hit Breonna's house was not for her. It was a warrant to come in there and look for shit. Come in there and find drugs because they had, from their surveillance, from their months and months of surveillance, they had determined that her house was a stash house. Now, they didn't find anything in there, but their surveillance had told them that that was a stash house. So this Breonna story is a lot deeper than people think. They don't know what's really going on. I wish people would stop talking about it that don't know what's going on. But oh well, you can't stop niggas from being stupid. Now back to the nightly news. Everyone hit the like button. Hit the like button. If you want to support the channel, you can support the channel via PayPal or via the Cash App. All donations appreciated.